What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. Oh man, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Whew! What a mouthful of a title. This movie is an intensely satisfying action thriller. Now, just a heads up, if you have come to watch creatively staged gun-fu fights, like what this franchise has been offering, then this third installment will definitely give you that in spades. But if you're also hoping for a stimulating story, unfortunately, that aspect is paper thin, so much so that it even has to reuse or recycle John Wick's motivation from the first movie for the purpose of Halle Berry's character. But do I have a problem with that? Hell no! Because as long as it gives rise to yet another hardcore action sequence, I say bring it. Directed by Chad Stahelski, right now John Wick is on the run. He's been excommunicado, and there's a $14 million bounty on his head for having broken the rule of killing a member of the shadowy International Assassins Guild, the High Table. So with every ruthless assassin wanting to kill him, Wick is on a mission to make amends. I think, ultimately, the thing that makes this third sequel appealing is that it retains all the elements that we love about this franchise. Not just the gun-fu fights, but also the fact that the camera allows us to see every knife to the face in all its glory. John Wick movies are the perfect example of movies that know how to frame and capture martial art fights incredibly well. On top of the fact that the choreography itself flows like some kind of ballerina dance, violent and brutal, but elegant nonetheless. John Wick's idea of immersive experience, including this one, is good old-fashioned stunt work that's full of surprises, and a cinematography that goes for wide and often tracks our hero's line of vision. To the point where there's a scene in the middle involving Halle Berry and Keanu Reeves where that whole thing plays out like you're in a first-person shooter game. Nicely done. This movie does, however, feel like a setup for a potential fourth installment. I think that's the only criticism that I can think of, in that this movie does not show any effort in giving at least even the appearance of standalone. But perhaps one can argue that the filmmakers are now very confident that they know what their audiences want, and what their audiences want is for this franchise to not just end with a trilogy. I'm counting there are about 4 or 5 action set pieces in this movie that each of them not only has its own shock value, but it also has its own level of difficulties. Although I gotta admit that Keanu Reeves' fight scene with Mark Dacascos nearing the end does not live up to the level of creativity that the ones prior to that give. Because, as you know, there is such a thing as a duel that goes on way longer than necessary. Other action movies have suffered from this as well. So while there's no character development in John Wick Chapter 3, and there's no emotional arc, and there's no conclusion either, the movie is as stylized as the previous two. And it does a hell of a job of throwing red meat to its fan base that will keep flocking for yet another round no matter what. By the way, quick shout out to my 2 fellow badass Indonesians from the Raid franchise who are featured in John Wick Chapter 3. Good job, you guys. Represent Indonesia!